Alright everyone, welcome. So, as you all may know, TikTok is one of the worst places to get art advice from, but I want to put that to the test. So, I'm just going to watch a couple videos, comment on them, test them, and we'll see what happens. 3 art techniques that made my drawings better. Tip 1, monotone filter to see the values, okay? Okay, like this, I do see what they're trying to talk. Okay, so let me test this out. So I'm not huge into painting, I'm more of a drawing kind of guy, but I can explain this. So every color has a certain brightness or darkness, which goes from white to black. This red, for example, if we look at the value, it's about that dark. And then objects that are in shadow are going to have lower values, objects that are in light are going to have higher values. And this tip is basically saying that if you draw a background, keep all the values really light, so then when you draw a character in the foreground, you give it some really dark values, compared to the background ones, of course, and then it actually stands out. Which, you know, that's correct, but the video didn't really explain what values are. Constantly flipping the canvas, yeah, that does make sense as well. I would recommend tying a shortcut key to that, so that way you can actually do it very easily instead of having to go back into the menus constantly. Okay, so this is a really gimmicky way of doing your shading, but I said I was gonna test it, so let's try it. Okay, so they went with kind of a purple for their shadows, so let's give that a shot as well. I think that works. And then they set to place the base color underneath the shadow, and then you can change the shadow color to your liking. So let's see, let's do this. It does work, but I would say this is more of a practice way to do your shadows. Like if you're drawing something for a practice session, then you can quickly get some shadows on there, practice your shadows at the same time. If you're trying to do actual shadows on an artwork, I would say it's probably better for your improvement if you actually just shade normally. That said, I'm not a painter, so, you know, what do I know? Let's see, you're doing line art wrong. Oh, I did a video about this yesterday. I've seen some mangaka do this before, so I'm pretty sure it works, but let's give it a try. Okay, so here we have our quick sketch. Honestly, it pains me to do a sketch like this, but yeah, let's try to clean it up. Okay, so based on the video, they're also using white to clean it up, which makes sense. The only thing is you do need to keep track of the layers you're using, but that shouldn't be too difficult. So I'm starting to near completion on this sketch, and I do have to say, it is more fun to do your line art like this instead of just doing it the traditional way. But that said, I would still recommend doing it the normal way, mostly because that's actually going to help you become better at drawing lines. Where, I mean, this might help you too, but the other way is just more optimal, I think. And like, I do have to say, my channel, you know, you can do art however you want. If you enjoy doing it this way, then, you know, keep doing that. But my channel is it's mostly for people that want to improve at art, people that want to start doing it professionally. And to do that, you need to learn a lot about the basics. You need to get whatever practice you can. And sometimes you just have to ignore the things that other people find fun, and, you know, you just have to suffer through something that isn't fun. And in the case of line art, you know, at animation studios, for example, they do line art the traditional way. So if you want to work there, you have to know how to do it. You have to be good at doing normal line art. So this isn't really going to help you. But if this is just for an artwork that you're doing on your own, then I guess it's fine. Okay, and here's what we got. Definitely could have been better if I spent some more time on it, but I mean, that does look pretty good. I think the results speak for themselves. This is a pretty decent way of doing your line work. So the best way of sketching anatomy. So it seems like they're using solid shapes or solid colors underneath with, you know, vague humanoid shapes, and then they draw their line work on top. Yeah, this I would definitely not recommend doing this. The main reason why is because when you're trying to draw a three-dimensional object like the human body, you want a three-dimensional guideline underneath so that it can actually help you get the proper perspective. Okay, so let's give it a try. So they start with circle for the head, then we draw the neck, shoulders. So far, it's still pretty similar to how you would usually sketch. But because they're solid colors, you're missing out on that three-dimensional detail. But I'll shut up about that. Okay, so here's what we got. This character is not standing up straight by the looks of it, so I probably should have put more effort into the guidelines underneath. But overall, I don't think it helped. I think it'd be far better if instead of doing this, you started off, horizon line as usual, then get the gesture in there, get the hips, shoulders, and then from here, you just sketch the rest of the character, and then, eventually you'll end up with this, and then you can use this as your guideline for when you're actually drawing your character normally. So yes, overall, just don't bother with this. Instead, learn your three-dimensional forms. Okay, so this video is about drawing highlights with your eraser in traditional. So they're using an empty pen to make indentations in the paper, and then when you draw over it, it reveals the highlights. Interesting. I mean, you can't argue with the results, but there is actually something else that you can do. Let's say you have a piece of paper, it has a drawing on it, then all you have to do is just grab another piece of paper, you make a small hole in it, and then you erase on top of this piece of paper through this little hole. So then you can shape the hole however you want, and then erase however you want to do it. Perspective is hard, I agree with that. It is the hardest thing in drawing. Okay, definitely do not try fisheye. Fisheye is the hardest form of perspective you can do. You're much better off going with 1, 2, or 3 point perspective and just practicing those. This is about drawing the back of the hair. Oh no. By the way, can I say how much I hate this AI voice or whatever it is, the text-to-speech? I don't understand why people use it. Just record your real voice. Okay, so I see what that is. Okay, let's test this. So we have a character with the hair drawn. I need to copy this, paste it, and then flip it horizontally. Now I need to erase this and then just draw the rest of it. Yeah, this is definitely a creative tip. I could not have come up with this myself, but yeah, don't do this. You're taking something that was drawn in one perspective and then trying to move it to a different perspective. That's usually not going to work. You're much better off just redrawing the entire thing. It's going to make you better by doing that, and you're also going to end up with a better final drawing. We have another video about line art. Looks like that's something a lot of people struggle with. Hold on a second. I actually want to see this. So when he goes from the sketch, so I know he intentionally did bad line art for this. I did it too for my video. But like the reason why this one looks so bad compared to the sketch is because it's just objectively a worse drawing than the sketch. A lot of these forms are less three-dimensional than they used to be in the sketch. So his first tip is about line weight. That is definitely a good thing. Appreciate the thickness on that. Yeah. Make a line thicker when it's in front of one. Makes it stand out more. Yep. So the second one, textured brushes. What I'm using is the G Pen, like the standard G Pen that comes with Clip Studio Paint, except I turned off the anti-aliasing, so you get sort of this texture from it. It gives it more of a pencil texture, I guess. And then his last tip is about texture. So when you go from the sketch to the line art, you need to make sure that you retain the texture from the sketch, which technically is true, but the whole point of line art is that it's just a clean outline of the drawing, so then when you color it, you can add your texture. So in my video about line art, I explained a couple things as well, but the best tip I can give you about line art is you just need to get better at controlling your lines. Because the biggest problem beginners have when they're doing their line art is if there's a very subtle curve in their sketch, like let's say there's a line that looks like that. A beginner tends to, subconsciously, they tend to straighten out the line. Well, probably not to that extent, but hold on. Probably be like that. And This is a small mistake, but if you do this throughout your entire drawing, eventually you lose out on all of the three-dimensionality that you were thinking about when you made the sketch. So in short, the best thing I can tell you about line art is become better at controlling your lines, and also become better at drawing. Like there is no trick, there is no shortcut to becoming better at it, you just have to improve. And that's where I'm going to call it. Now, I can't say I learned too much from that, mostly because social media, it's all about getting views, and the best way to get views is to make quick art tips or like art hack videos. But these aren't going to make you a better artist. You're much better off just picking up a book like Scott Robertson's How to Draw book, for example, and then just learning the fundamentals from that. But yeah, let me know in the comments if you want to see this again, and I will make a part 2. If not, let me know what else you want to see, and I guess I'll catch you all later.